We've got Dave Latelli and Trish Sherson on our panel today, so we'll have a bit of fun after 8 o'clock. First, a damning review into child protection in New Zealand has found that 24 children have been killed by their caregivers in the last 4 years. 24 children, 4 years, most of them under the age of 5. The Independent Children's Monitor report says that 4 years on from the death of Malachi Subecz, children aren't safer, despite recommendations aimed at fixing the system. Dr. Patrick Kelly is a paediatrician, joins me this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being with me. I spoke to the Minister about this last week, and I want to get your view as a paediatrician. It doesn't matter what, it doesn't seem to have mattered what you do. We've had good economic times, we've had bad economic times, we've had Labor in government, we've had National in government, we've had a minister from the left, a minister from the right. The numbers are staying the same. They're not getting better. Is that depressing?
Yes, and I need to make it clear that I'm speaking as a paediatrician who's worked in this area for 30 years. I'm not speaking on behalf of Health New Zealand or any other organisation. But absolutely it is depressing, and I think apart from the occasional case like Malachi, which reaches the public eye, this is going on all the time, and I think the public of New Zealand are very seldom aware of it.
When you see a child, how do you know they're being abused?
It's not necessarily an easy question to answer, but what we do know is what the Independent Children's Monitor report confirmed, is that children most at risk are the youngest children. The most dangerous year of your life for physical child abuse is the first 12 months. The second most dangerous year is the second year, and the third most dangerous year is the third year. And that's simply because these infants are pre-verbal, they're too young to describe what they have experienced, and they are utterly in the power of adults. So we think of adults as absolutely devoted to the welfare of their young children, and most are, but some are not, or some snap under pressure. And when you think of the power imbalance in human relationships, the greatest power imbalance in human life is the first year of your life. And that means that when it comes to detecting abuse in a very young infant, even apparently minor things like a bruise in a 4-month baby who is not yet rolling can be profoundly significant. So bruises in babies who are not yet independently mobile should always require careful consideration. I don't know how many infants under the age of 12 months I've seen in the last 30 years who've come to serious harm because they had what someone thought was a minor bruise and no one did anything about it.
They shouldn't really have them.
They shouldn't have them. Most infants start to get the occasional bruise when they're independently mobile, typically when they're pulling to stand, cruising around furniture, beginning to walk. And of course, once you're a toddler or a 3-year-old, you're running around and banging into things and you'll get them on your shins. But younger children who are not independently mobile should have no bruises at all. And even when they are, there are certain locations, like on the ears or the soft tissue of your cheek or the angle of your jaw or on your neck, or on your torso, that is your chest or your abdomen or your back. Those are places where you don't normally typically bruise even when you are an ambulant toddler. So
if you're a toddler, so this is the crucial period. This is 1, 2 and 3 are not be all end all, but are the key years.
Yes.
How often are those at-risk 1-year-old, 12-month-olds going to see a doctor or going to see a nurse, or, are there enough opportunities to actually spot this, potentially?
I think there are enough opportunities, not invariably. I don't think we're going to prevent every child.
No.
But I think there are enough opportunities. If you think of those...
So why aren't they being picked up then?
Well, it's a combination of factors. I think many early childhood education providers and health professionals aren't particularly well trained to recognise that. And oranga tamariki and the police are not particularly well trained either when it comes to very young children. And then the problem is, if you're an oranga tamariki social worker and you see a bruise on a baby and you don't know what to make of it, it's often difficult for you to get really quick access to someone who knows what they're talking about. So for 30 years I've been advocating for the health system to devote more resource to supporting and reviewing these young children.
Patrick, what you've just said blows my mind. How can you be a social worker, a child social worker, working at then SIFs, now OT, whatever, and not know this?
Well, because for a start, you're not trained. In the undergraduate training as a social worker, there is almost no specific training on child protection, and what there is does not certainly focus on this kind of issue. Health professionals aren't involved in training undergraduate social workers or postgraduate social workers.
Even though they're the ones most likely to go into the homes that these children are being abused in?
Yes, very much so. So the social worker will go back to their site, they will talk to their supervisor, they'll make a decision about what they should do, and they may or may not consult a health professional, and if they try to, they may not be able to get ready access to one. So I understand why things are as they are, but I think they need to change, and the only way to change them is by a commitment to changing them.
We haven't even got to the causes of this yet. I mean, we've talked about the responses and how they can be improved, but in terms of the underlying causes, we have actually just run out of time to do that, which is a shame. But I would love to have you back at some stage, if you wouldn't mind, Dr. Patrick, to talk about that, because I think there is an appetite in this country, and these things happen and then we forget.
Yes.
But I think there is an appetite from people to learn more about that. So if you wouldn't mind, I would love to have you back on the show at some point.
Yeah, I'd be delighted.
Thank you very much for coming in this morning, Dr. Patrick Kelly, who's a paediatrician.